Good morning, students. I was supposed to teach you two poems. One is A Tiger in a Zoo, and the second is Amanda. So, what I have decided is to actually record a video on those two poems, so that I'll upload it in the YouTube channel. I'll let you know about it. And actually, I decided to do this because then you could actually watch it as many number of times as you want, or you can watch it at your own convenience. Okay. So, let me go through the poems, and after going through this video, if you feel that you have any problem or somewhere you need to be the poem needs to be explained again, please call me up and get the clarifications done. Okay. So, the first poem that I'm going to discuss is A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris. Before we go to a stanza wise discussion of the poem, let me first give you in brief a central idea, the central idea of the poem. What does the poem deal with? See, the poem deals with a tiger that is caged in a zoo. A tiger that is caged in a zoo and its mental state. See, the poet makes a comparison between the life of the tiger in a cage in a zoo and what the life of the tiger would have been if it had not been put into the cage, if it had not been encaged. And by that comparison, he brings out the pitiable state or the horrible state of affairs in which the tiger finds itself. And the poet tries to, by doing that, the poet tries to drive home the message that all wild animals should be left in their natural habitat. He wants to raise a voice, he raises a voice against the encagement of wild animals, the confinement of wild animals in narrow cages in zoos. And he argues in favor of all the wild animals being left, being released from captivity, not putting wild animals in a state of captivity. And because when we do put wild animals inside cages, when we keep them in a state of captivity, what we actually do, it's a great punishment for them. It's a big punishment. Imagine yourself, if a human being is confined in a narrow space, how does a human being feel? We all crave for freedom. Similarly, all animals too love to lead a free life. So here in this poem, the poet compares the state of the tiger inside the cage, the state of the tiger in captivity, and what the tiger would be if it was left free in the wild. And through this comparison, he tries to bring forward the message, he tries to stress the idea of the necessity of giving freedom to all wild animals. Okay. So now please let us go through the poem. The first paragraph is, in the first paragraph we find the tiger inside a cage in a zoo. So in the first paragraph, the tiger we find inside a cage in a zoo. He stalks in his vivid stripes. Stalks means walks with pride. Vivid means very deep and bright. So on the yellow body of the tiger, the black stripes appear to be very bright and intense. So the tiger with its striped body walks with great pride the few steps of his cage. Where does he walk? He doesn't have a huge space to walk in because he is inside a cage. So he is able to walk only a few steps around the small cage in which he has been put. On pads of velvet quite. Velvet, is a soft cloth. Pads here refers to the underside of the tiger's feet. The underside of the tiger's feet are so soft that when the tiger moves, it makes no sound at all. So as the tiger paces about, as the tiger walks about proudly inside the narrow confines of his cage, he makes his footsteps make absolutely no sound at all. In his quiet rage, obviously, this mighty animal inside the cage, he is helpless. He is proud of his strength, of his power, but inside the cage, he is totally helpless to do anything. He cannot help himself. He is in despair. And this helplessness This state of captivity, this imprisonment makes the tiger angry. So, in this angry mood, in a helpless state, the tiger walks proudly a few paces inside his narrow cage in a very stately manner. Okay? Now we go to the second stanza. In the second stanza, the poet imagines what the tiger might have been doing if it had not been imprisoned. In the second stanza, the poet gives us an imaginary picture of what the tiger might have been doing at that time if it had not been encaged. What the poet says, he should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. What is the meaning of lurking? Lurking means staying hidden. What is the meaning of sliding? Sliding means walking silently and very easily, very gracefully. So, what would the tiger have been doing? What might the tiger have been doing at this time if it was not in the cage? The poet says, probably the tiger would have been hiding behind long grasses, and through the grass it would move, it would keep itself hidden and move through the grass very easily, noiselessly, like a shadow. Why would it walk through the grass? Because it would be following where plump deer pass. See, water hole. Water hole means it may be a pond or a lake inside a forest where other animals come, where all animals come to drink water. So that place, the region around that water hole would be the best place for a tiger to find a prey. So probably if the tiger had not been encaged, if the tiger had not been put inside the cage, then at that time it would probably be hiding behind some tall grass, behind some long grass near a water hole. And what it would be doing? It would be following by keeping itself hidden. It would make no noise, no sound. It would keep itself hidden behind the long grass, and it would be following silently a plump deer, a fat deer, a healthy deer, waiting for the opportunity to pounce on its prey and gather its meal. That is what the tiger might have been doing if it had been left in its wild habitat instead of being put inside the cage. He should be snarling around houses. Snarling means growling, making angry noises. At the jungle's edge. Edge means where the jungle ends. What is there on the margin of the jungle? On the margin of the jungles, you have small villages, people living in small villages, bearing his white fangs. Fangs means teeth. As it growls, one could see its white teeth, terrorizing, and claws, and it would also be bearing its claws, terrorizing the village. So at this moment, if the tiger had been allowed to remain free, maybe that it would come to the margin of the forest, going around the villages, the little hamlets, the little villages that lie at the margin of the forest, growling, baring its teeth, and the villagers would be terrified to see a tiger in their village. It would probably be terrifying people. মানুষ যারা জঙ্গলের ধারে যে ছোট ছোট গ্রামগুলি, সেই গ্রামগুলিতে হয়তো এই টাইগার, এই বাঘটি হানা দিত, রাগে সে চিৎকার করত এবং তার সাদা দাঁত এবং নখগুলো বের করে সে গ্রামের লোকদের ভয় দেখাতো। সম্ভবত যদি এই সময় সেই বাঘটি খাঁচায় বন্দি না থাকতো। সি, there is another aspect which comes out in this stanza. There is another thing that the poet hints at in this stanza, and what is that? Nowadays, what is happening? There are frequent man-animal conflicts because, with increasing human population, what man is doing? Man is cutting down forests and setting up villages, sometimes villages developing into towns very close to forest areas, cutting down trees and setting up agricultural fields. Okay, as I was saying that there is another aspect which comes out here, And what is that? See, nowadays what happens with increasing human population, there is increasing man animal conflict, because man is clearing forests to set up villages. Very often there are towns located very close to forests. We clear trees, we clear forest areas to set up agricultural fields. So there is a loss of habitat for wild animals, and as a result, very often wild animals stray. You will hear these incidents very often in newspapers. See, in fact, in Greater Bombay, leopards very often get into housing societies, and you can find leopards walking the streets and all that. If you go to Gujarat, around the Gir forests, the township has grown to such an extent that very often lions are found to stray into towns. So this is another point that the poet raises here, that because of this growing population around the forests, sometimes animals come into areas of human habitation, and there are frequent man and animal conflicts. We go to the fourth stanza, and we are once again back in the zoo, but he is locked in a concrete cell. Unfortunately, the tiger is unable to do any of the things that is described in paragraph in stanza 2 and 3. Neither is the tiger able to hunt, nor is the tiger able to terrorize the villages, because he is locked in a concrete cell. His strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, that is, walking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Now look at this stanza. What comes out here? See, this stanza brings out the extremely callous attitude of the zoo authorities. See, they have put the tiger in a cage, the floor of which is concrete. The tiger is not habituated to living on concrete floors, so they show no consideration for the state of the tiger. The tiger is very strong, very powerful, but then again it is helpless, because its strength is behind the bars. It is locked up behind the bars of the cage, so it can do nothing about it. Helplessly, it just walks proudly across its cage a number of times. He is unable to rest, because the place that he has been put in, the circumstances that he has been put in, is very disturbing to him. He is unable to rest. And there are visitors, there are lots of people who are visiting the zoo, watching him. He has no interest in anybody. He is, lost in himself, lost in this very alien world, difficult place where he has been put into. Now night falls. He hears the last voice at night. So at night the people go, the zoo closes, all the people go, but the tiger is not left alone. It is not left undisturbed because of the patrolling cars. Patrolling मतलब vigil. Patrolling মানে নজর রাখা, কারণ রাত্রেবেলা কি হয়, চিড়িয়াখানার যারা অথরিটিস তারা গাড়ি করে ঘুরতে থাকে to see if all the animals are all right, and stares at with his brilliant eyes. The tiger's eyes are brilliant, intent, shining. With those brilliant shining eyes, the tiger looks out of its cage. Where does he look? At the brilliant stars. He looks up into the sky, and there in the sky he finds the shining stars. He looks up at the sky towards those shining twinkling stars. What does it mean? What does it imply? Probably, seemingly, the tiger seems to be appealing to the Almighty. The tiger looks up into the sky at heaven and seems to be praying to the Almighty that he might get back his freedom someday, that he might become free someday. He might be able to walk free out of that cage, the narrow confine of the cage, someday. So this is the poem, my dear friends, where attention is drawn to the fact that we human beings, for our entertainment, for our narrow ends, when we don't have our freedom, we raise our voice. When we don't have our freedom, we fight for our freedom. But we don't think twice. We don't think twice before putting another animal inside a cage. Before taking away the freedom of wild animals, we hardly bat an eyelid. So this poem is a very powerful appeal to mankind, a very powerful appeal to the conscience of man, that we should not put wild animals into cages. We should not take away the liberty, the freedom of the wild animals, and we should leave them in their natural habitats in the forests, and we should preserve them, protect them there, because there is where is the natural home of these wild animals, and there is where they are the most beautiful. Like in Bengali, you have this very wonderful poetic line, Bonnera Bone Sundor. So, people who have to be living in the forest, the animals which have to live in the forest, are the most beautiful when they are left to themselves in the forest, and that is what we have to do. Thank you very much.